Hi all, hope you're all doing well. Just wanted to go over briefly last week and move on to this week. So last week was about databases and data warehousing. Obviously, we had some discussion about that. Probably the thing that most people were stymied by was the SQL coding. Um, I think that probably it was certainly a difficult assignment. I'm not going to lie that it wasn't. But I think the key is that we really need to, take the time to kind of dig in and learn and understand some of these things to really have a good understanding of how to use data from a database. So, for example, knowing how we can manipulate and query data in a relational database will serve us not only if we are in the position where we're doing these things, especially say a researcher like myself, I may have a relational database of research data that I need to query and manipulate in some way. SQL is probably one of the most simple ways to do that, outside of buying really expensive software products that manage it for you, which is great. But even with those, sometimes you still need to write queries effectively. One thing that's interesting about this query process, and hopefully what it may help you in understanding, is the way that the logic of a query. So we were writing queries specifically in SQL language, but or SQL, depending on how you pronounce it. But the other thing that I think is helpful to me, and when I first kind of started digging into some of this stuff myself in my career and learning about it, it's really got an academic perspective or piece to it as well. So one of the things that you're going to want to learn to do as you progress in your undergraduate study, and then hopefully consider moving on to graduate study, is how to appropriately query the library. So unfortunately, we've all gotten kind of lazy. I'm going to go to our library to give you an example, but I think we've all gotten kind of lazy when you zip out to a library site and you see a search like this, where you are just searching what it thinks it's looking for you. But if you were to actually go and sit down with the librarians, they would talk to you in a language that looks very much like this, in that you need to query if you're really looking to get a comprehensive view of a topic. For example, maybe you want to look at the use of data for precision medicine. You would need to search articles that had healthcare, data, precision medicine, lots of different things, lots of ands and or statements, the types of things that you saw in the SQL document. Or in the SQL training. So it's not, I'm sure, I know that some of you were frustrated with the assignment, and I haven't graded them yet, so I don't know what they look like. Maybe those that I didn't speak to whizzed right through it and it wasn't an issue, but it really can help you in more than just how to query a relational database for using SQL, because queries in things like a library database, or maybe your database at work that you're trying to get info out of, you really need to know how to structure those queries so you're getting all the information you need. So point was, it wasn't just a wasted project. Hopefully you gained something from it about how to write a query, and I think that you'll use that information in a wider spread format. So this week we're actually going to be talking about dashboards a little bit. And the one piece of information that I talk about in the assignment that isn't really addressed here, I've tried to supplement that. There was a set of, and I apologize for not uploading it earlier, when we created this class, there was a set of templates that the author of the book was supposed to be creating, and I never thought about it when I was putting this class to live, and then just realized that they still have not created those dashboard templates for us. So this week we're going to talk about benchmarking and dashboards and scorecards, those types of things. And in our discussion, we're going to be addressing the video that is in your readings and resources folder. But you're also going to be looking at really a a mock scorecard. So I have provided some additional examples up here. Let me open this up. I've provided what's here was not very robust, and the textbook gives you a few as well, but not a ton. But so I have added a bunch of additional things on dashboard design, dashboard examples, etc. You can also just do a query of queries your favorite things. You can just search it on Google. I won't even call it query. You can search it on Google for healthcare dashboard examples, and there are tons of them out there. So that is that's our work for this week. The video, the written assignment, just that mock scorecard. A lot of people tend to do those in Excel. So because Excel kind of makes it a little easier, but you certainly don't have to. You can do it in a Word document. You can do it in whatever you would like. But also presented this week is the group project. Let me go here to week 7. So the group project is due in week 7, obviously, and you'll be submitting it. You'll see it appear through this week, next week, and the final week as well. But the actual project itself is due in week 7. That's where you're going to submit it. A couple things I'll say. I do refer in here to a template for this as well, and I think that this is another one where there was really a template that was supposed to be provided by the gentleman that wrote the textbook and really didn't. So I will supplement this with some additional information. It may just be, I have a few resources that I can pull from. But so what we're looking for is a paper. So a final product, a detailed document, using APA format because you're likely going to have quite a few references, but a detailed document, 5 to 7 pages, that's written by the group. So you can all assign different research to different people. You can do whatever way you would like. However, I don't want one person to just be sitting down and writing this paper. And to assess that, I think most everyone in this class has did you guys may have already had a group project. I'm teaching too many classes this term. I can't keep them straight with all of you guys that I've had in classes before. So there is a self and peer assessment that will be distributed in week 7 that you will submit during week 7 you'll submit at the end of week 7 when you've finished your work in this assignment, and that will address how everyone was involved in the project. Some people have strengths that others don't. Maybe one person wants to take a shot at drafting it. Others can do some research. Others can write different sections. I don't have a problem with that, but I want the final project to be a product that you all have had input into and all have agreed on. And these are your groups that were assigned randomly by the Blackboard shell. So I will get. I do promise. I'll actually work on that right as I get done with this video to see. I know that the template that the textbook folks were supposed to provide is not available, but I will find a couple of options for data analytics strategy and post them. I'll post them in the week. Well, no, I'm going to post them here in the week 7 classroom just to keep it concise and so that everyone knows where it is. So I'll post them in the week 7 classroom. But so that's it. The key, and we go back here to week 5. The key to this work in week 5 is to really, we've talked a lot about the data. We've talked about some uses of it, overarching uses like precision medicine, those types of things. This week is really to dig in and look at, okay, how do we use this every day in a healthcare organization? Any major hospital is going to have an executive dashboard that, or scorecard or balanced scorecard or whatever it happens to be, that when the COO or the director of nursing or whoever comes in for the day, they're going to look at that. It's the first thing they're going to do to see what's going on. Okay, what does our accounts receivable look like? What does our census look like? What about patient satisfaction? What about employee satisfaction? Those are all types of things that you may see on those scorecards or those dashboards. And all of our readings this week and videos, etc., all kind of talk about how we use that internally, and then also we can compare ourselves to other organizations through benchmarking groups. So it might be through something like the American Hospital Association, it might be like a group like Leapfrog, different ways that we can benchmark ourselves against others. So that's all I've got. I apologize, that was probably a little longer than it needed to be, but that's all I've got for this week. And please just let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.